Oh, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the 13th Dimension. Don't mind me. I'm eating a spicy chicken sandwich from Wendy's. And before we get everything started, let's bring on Scotty. Hey, Scott.
All right, guys. How's everybody doing?
We're doing pretty good. How you doing tonight?
Man, I'm excited, dude.
I am. That was awesome about Wendy's, wasn't it?
Dude, that is absolutely amazing. I think it would be one thing if it was in like your hometown or my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
This to be in a completely different state.
Yes.
Dude, that's absolutely amazing.
All the way to Utah.
Utah, dude. That is crazy.
That means somebody is watching us in Utah.
Dude, and I still have not heard from them, but whoever it is, man, we thank you guys so much. That is so amazing.
It was so awesome. It was such a shock.
Dude, it was. I mean, we really didn't hear about it. You know what I'm saying? It was cool that somebody let us know, hey, I seen this today in my hometown. Mm-hmm. Check this out.
And when I watched it, I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
Right.
My jaws were like this guy right here.
Yeah, mine were too. I was absolutely just like, man, that is so freaking awesome, man. And I made sure I shared it to everybody that I knew.
Oh, I shared it too. I shared the crap out of it. Good. Okay, well, we got an exciting show tonight, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
Got some comments as well.
Yeah, before we do that, we got a couple of shout outs.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We cannot forget about Mateo.
Yep. Happy belated birthday, Mateo, man.
Yes. And also, we have a family member who had a birthday.
We do.
Yes. Would you like to share that one?
You share
it. Okay, it is the niece of our fellow team members, Tim and Crystal. She just turned 2 years old.
Happy birthday, sweetie.
Yes. Okay, so our show tonight, we are going to be talking about elementals.
Dude, this is a good topic. I'm nervous, so you know what I'm saying? Like I talked to you earlier, I'm like, but dude, I'm excited, because this is what this show is all about.
Yes, it is. And I am so excited. Good friend of mine, all the way from Ireland.
I know, dude. That is awesome.
And let's bring him on. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Ireland, he is from the Ghost Searchers Island, Gary Ruddel Walters. Hello, Gary.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can't see you.
All right. Oh, right. Hold on. Sorry.
There we go.
Sorry about apologies, guys. I was a wee bit behind time there. I was doing a show early on there. But yeah, fantastic to be on this evening. So thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here, guys. Really enjoying it. So
it's a pleasure for having you here tonight.
It's a pleasure.
Dude, it's all
staying up so late to be with us tonight too.
Not at all. I'm usually in bed, guys, for I should have been in bed about 7 hours ago. I should have been in bed about 9 o'clock. So this is quite late for me. So yeah, no, it's a great honor. And my friend Jenny was telling me about you guys, and I just couldn't let it go to miss. So it's a great pleasure to be here.
Like I said, we're honored for you to be on this show.
Oh, thank you. It's nice to be here. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, and to cover this of all things, dude, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, the elemental. Yeah, we have an elemental here. We have a couple of good stories to tell you about that. Yep, indeed. So yeah.
Well, before we do get into that, for those in the audience who may not know you, how about introducing yourself? Talk about your team a little bit. How you got into paranormal?
Okay. Well, my name is Gary Ruddel Waters. I'm a paranormal researcher, and I have been for the past 13 years in doing this as a hobby. But I've been interested most of my life from an early age. And basically, how the team was formed was my wife. We were in a previous team, and that team folded. And we were sitting in the conservatory one day, and she had said, what are we going to do now? And I went, no idea. But we loved it so much. She just came out with it. She says, do you fancy, how would you feel about starting up your own team? And I went, yeah, well, if you want to give it a go. We thought maybe, worst scenario, or the best scenario would have maybe lasted maybe 6 weeks, but it'll be 10 years next February. We'll be going strong. Yeah. So, I mean, it's been an amazing journey for us. We've met so many amazing people over the years. We've investigated so many wonderful locations. And it's been an absolute ball, guys. Really, absolutely loved it. And of course, I'm on here tonight talking to you. What else could I ask for? But yeah, so started off very, very at a young age for me. It wasn't actually through ghosts that I got into paranormal, believe it or not. It was through possibly a UFO sighting. I was at school. I was 9 years of age, and I was out playing with my friends and playing football in the playground. And 9 years of age, you don't really know much about UFOs or anything like that. You don't hardly know anything. But basically, what I remember was that I remember looking up into the sky and seeing this like a silver disc above my head. It was probably about 40 feet above my head, and it wasn't making any sound. I looked down. None of my friends had noticed this object, only myself. I was looking back up again, and I remember seeing like a microlight airplane flying over the top of it. But again, I thought, this is strange. Why is this? I can see the microlight flying over, but I don't see the silver object moving. It's not making any sound. So I thought, this is strange, and my curiosity started to get a better of me. So I remember looking down into the playground, and this maybe, thinking back then, it maybe only felt maybe 5 or 6 seconds, and the playground was empty. There was no kids in the playground. And normally, when being that age, it would normally take us maybe 2 or 3 minutes to queue up to get back into our classes. The teachers would have called us. Well, actually, there were nuns back in Ireland. We had nuns. And we were queuing up, and this would take process of maybe 2 or 3 minutes to get all the kids into order, into their queues, and to bring them back into the class. But there was nobody there. They were all gone. And I went, my Lord, why is this? Where's everyone gone? So anyway, cut the long story short, I remember going back into the classroom and everybody looking at me as if to say, where were you? And I didn't think anything of it. But further play forward a wee bit further down the line, when I was about 10 years of age, a year after I seen the sighting, I had a strange lump on my back. So my mom and dad had said to me, we'll take you to the hospital. We don't know what this is. It was a hard cyst. So they took me to the Newton Arts Hospital, which is about 18 kilometers from Belfast. And I remember them bringing me into the waiting room, and then they brought me into theatre, and the doctor looked at it and he says, "No, we don't know what this is, but hopefully we can take it out." So my mom and dad left the room, and I remember laying on my side. I remember still being awake, but they put me on some type of, slightly drugged, but I knew what was going on. And I remember that I could feel almost like I still have the scar on my back. I can actually feel it, actually. And I remember them slicing it, and I remember the doctors were talking, and the whatever it was that took it out of my back, and they stitched me up again. You enjoying that, Jeremy? You look to be enjoying that.
Well, I'm listening to every word.
You're actually making me quite hungry, actually, because I'm usually asleep at this time. I'm actually getting hungry watching you eating here. So anyway, so basically they cut out whatever it was, and then I was brought back into the waiting room, and there was a doctor and a nurse had came to see my mum and dad, and they said we've took out what it is, but to be honest, we don't know what it is. But would you mind if we keep it for future, for test sampling, whatever? Mum and dad said, yeah, but is there anything to be concerned about? And they went, no, we don't think so. Everything seems to be okay. There's no hardness there. It was like a black oily substance that they took out. So anyway, so again, fast forward to that, about a year after that, I started to take pain in my mouth, and I went to see a specialist, and they done x-rays, and then I ended up having to go to the hospital up in the Dundonald Hospital, which is about 16 miles from Belfast. And they done x-rays, and they came into the waiting room. We were waiting in the waiting room. They brought me into this wee side room, mum and dad again. And they said, we've done x-rays, but we can't understand. Your son's teeth has, all 4 wisdom teeth have like hooks on them. And it's very, very rare to have that. We've never seen that. Very, very rare we see that. And we're going to have to take them out. Now, usually when you get your wisdom teeth, you usually take them out in around 18, 19, 20 years of age. I was only 11 years of age, which is quite unusual. So anyway, so I went for an operation. They took the teeth out and sent them away. But again, the strange thing, it was like deja vu that said, can we keep samples of these? We've never seen this. Quite very rare to see this. Can we keep these? And mum and dad said, yeah, no, that's fine. And 11 years of age, I'm going, what on earth's going on here? Is there something wrong with me? There's 2 things that's happened to me over the last couple of years. Don't know what's going on. Now, whether that was to do with the UFO sighting, maybe the reason of the lost track of time, was there anything, maybe I could have been abducted, I don't know. But you hear these stories from other people, and you go, you laugh at it and you think, oh, they're way in the head. But when it actually happens to you, then it opens your eyes to what's going on around you as well. So that's where it started from. And then had a lot of experience growing up. And my mum and dad lived in a 3-story mansion of a house in the east coast of Ireland. And this house dated back 300 years. And there was one night, mum and dad, they were business people, and they were out working late. They would work late about 9, 10 o'clock at night. And my mum and dad, they were party people. They'd have their parties at weekends. But I remember one night, it was in the dead of winter. It was just me and my sister. My brother went to boarding school, and my bedroom was on the 2nd floor, and my sister lived on the 3rd floor, but she lived at the front of the house. And this house had 7 bedrooms. It was a huge house. So I remember lying in bed. It was about 9 o'clock at night, and I remember turning my bedroom light off, but I could see, looking out at my bedroom door, underneath there was a wee strip, and I could see the lantern light was on. The whole light was on the other side. And I was wide awake, and I remember started to hear this conversation going on, these people talking, and I went, "Oh, mum and dad's home early. Oh, they must be up." So I'm quite hungry. I'm going to open the door and say, "Mum, Dad, I'm hungry. Want a bit of toast or whatever." So I jumped up. I heard this, but the thing was, when I heard it, it sounded like there was maybe 5 or 6 people having a conversation, and I went, maybe mum and dad has people in the house. I don't know. But anyway, so I got up out of bed, went over, opened the door. There was nobody there. And this was a split second of hearing voices to opening that door. There was nobody there. There was silence. And I rubbed my eyes because the brightness was blinding me a wee bit. And I went, no, mum and dad. So that put my fascination in the paranormal from a very early age. So, yeah.
Dude, that is awesome, man. Like,
yeah.
To you sometime about UFO experiences. Oh my God, I am so sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm not sorry. I'm glad it happened. It's opened my eyes to what's going on. I do personally believe, because it's happened to me. I do believe that there is life beyond Earth. I really do, and I believe that there's a possibility that aliens do visit our planet. I really do believe that. So
you and me both.
Yep. Yeah. Man after my own heart, Scott.
Really?
Yeah.
So tell us, how did you meet up with Jenny?
There's a program over here called Crime Watch UK. No, I'm only joking. I knew Jenny from about. She's going to kill me. I knew Jenny from a.
Come over. Um,
You know what she's like. She's absolutely bonkers. But no, I met Jenny about 8 or 9 years ago. Jenny was in a previous paranormal team, and we were approached by this team where we'd be interested in investigating a place called Shane's Castle. Now Shane's Castle, those who don't know Shane's Castle, was used as one of the sets in the Game of Thrones. I think it done 8 seasons, so it was used quite a lot in the Game of Thrones. And when they approached us, of course, we were absolutely amazed. We thought, yeah, we'll go here. It's a great honor for us to go to a place where Game of Thrones have been filming. And then we also checked the history of it, and this cast goes back to 300 years. So we went there that night, and I met Jenny briefly. She was running around making 10 sandwiches, and I hardly got talking to her that night. But our friendship that was the first night I met her, and it's developed over the years. And now we have our own chat show with her as my host. She's one of my hosts. She's the other host, actually. And yeah, she's great fun. As you guys know, you know her very well. So bonkers, absolute bonkers.
Yeah,
yes, she is.
me to be on one of your shows here in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that one.
Nice one. Be glad to have you on. Yeah, good one.
What I'm really looking forward to is when you guys have Tim on.
Tim's coming on. I think Tim's coming on next week. So yeah, Tim's coming on next week.
Yeah, I'll definitely be watching that one.
Yeah, Tim's a good guy. So he is.
He's all right.
Of course, he's the best because he's watching.
Yep, gotta suck up to good old Tim there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's got a shotgun put on in his wardrobe, so you're gonna have to be careful.
We love Tim. Don't get us wrong. We love Tim.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah. Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about elementals, and I don't really know much about them. I just know them more as like nature spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Also, with the different elements and everything. What is it? Water, fire, wind, earth.
Yeah.
Right.
So, kind of act like I have never heard of an elemental. I don't know anything about it. What would be the easiest way to bring me up to speed on what an elemental is?
Well, basically, it's just what you said there. Now, I've never had any personal experience with the elemental, but I do know of one place where it's very well known. I don't know if you guys heard of it or not. It's called Lep Castle down the south of Ireland.
Yep.
I think maybe a TV program that was brought over from America had filmed their ghost hunters.
Yep, ghost hunters.
Ghost Hunters, that's gone back maybe 12, 13 years ago with Jason Hall and Grant
Wilson.
Forgot his name there. So they had come over to Lab Castle and they investigated. And I believe Dustin Parry had a bad experience where he was knocked to the ground, possibly by this entity that roams the grounds or whatever. And apparently it was brought in by the O'Carroll clan of Lap Castle, and it's supposed to haunt the upper levels and the banqueting hall and the balcony as well. That's the area that it roams, and it's supposed to be like a shapeshifter. It can go from a human to an animal, whatever. And that's the only experience that I've ever had with an elemental, knowing that story. Now, I've been there twice to Lap Castle, but I never personally experienced that. But my wife actually, she took a really interesting photograph up in I think it's known as the Bloody Chapel, which is up in the top floor. And now there's not much left. It's just the castle wall and the oubliette. There's an oubliette adjoined to the Bloody Chapel. And it was found, I believe, in the early 1900s, where they opened up the wall and they brought in, I think they took away about 5 crates of bones from the oubliette. But it's a horrible history to Lep Castle, where apparently one of the brothers was either a priest and he had murdered his brother over something that was going on, a debate or something, and he murdered him in the chapel, which was known as the Bloody Chapel. Now, whether it was him haunting the place, or maybe they brought a few mediums in and they picked up on an elemental, I don't know, but that's the story of Lep Castle anyway. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Lep Castle, especially after seeing Dustin get knocked down right there on.
Yeah, and I don't think he's the type of guy that would overreact. You know, he's quite a laid back guy. Hopefully, I'm going to be bringing him on the show in a few weeks. I'm going to talk to him about that. But he seems a quite rational headed guy. He doesn't seem to make things up. You know, watching him over Ghost when he was in Ghost Hunters. I was near saying Ghost Adventures, but he was in Ghost Hunters, and then I believe later on he was in Ghost International for a couple of seasons as well.
Yep.
And a couple of good friends of mine. Rob Demers is a very good friend of mine. I've actually been at his home in Florida, and also Barry Fitzgerald as well. They were both in Ghost Hunters International. But Rob has told me a couple of stories of the elemental as well, but it's something you don't really hear much about, really, when you think about it. People talking about it.
Yeah, no, it's not really commonly talked about within the field, so that's why we want to learn about it and try to understand what exactly those are.
Yeah. So I'm just reading the comments here. A guy called Nick Malay. Lep Castle is familiar with it. I remember it being featured on the segment of Scariest Places on Earth. I remember watching that program. They talked briefly about the elemental. They described it as a size of a sheep. Yeah, so yeah, that's the taken shape format. But I think at the time, the Scariest Places on Earth, I think it was more of a made up type of program, more of a scare element, if you know what I mean. So, but I mean, there's supposed to be another one. I think it's a Charlieville Castle as well, down in the dungeon of Charlieville Castle, and we've been down there, and we've never experienced anything like that at all. But then again, what is an elemental? Is it an evil spirit? You know, it makes you think. Does make you think.
What
about you guys? Have you experienced anything like that?
I personally haven't. No.
No, I've never experienced anything like that. So
yeah,
I know Scott has had some very unique experiences, but
I have, yes.
Yeah, not necessarily of an elemental type or anything wanting to knock him down.
Okay.
But
right.
It was very unique, to say the least. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
It involved him in a prison, and I guess a jail mate sort of had a bit of a on Scott.
Okay.
I won't say infatuation with me. Thought I was kind of cute, I guess.
Okay, maybe I don't know. Maybe it was the hat you were wearing. I don't know. Maybe
I'm a little guy.
Well, I mean, you know, on the serious note, we all thrive for personal experiences. I mean, we could be there all night recording and documenting everything from the start to the end. But for us all, and you guys know, because you're seasoned investigators, is you cannot beat a personal experience. That's what you want. That's what you thrive for. And I mean, I've had it, and I'm quite open-minded skeptic. I would class myself as, you know, and you know, to come back home scratching your head, going, "What was that all about?" You know, it makes you think. It really does make you think, and it just. I mean, you could be going for years and not get anything. I mean, I've been scratched I mean, I bite my nails. I have no explanation for it. Um, I've had a disembodied voice in my ear. I've no explanation for it. And they're all personal experiences, you know. And I would rather have a personal experience. Chicken nuggets. Mm. Um, you cannot beat a chicken nugget. You cannot beat a chicken nugget. Do you know what? Do you know what I had earlier? I had a bag of them, and I'm absolutely stuffed. So I am. So yeah.
Nice. Well, at least we
Oh,
or something.
you've got good taste, Scott. You've got good taste.
Thank you.
Here's a really good question. Are elementals? This came from Marissa Joy Duncan. Are elementals classified as demonic, or are they associated with demons?
I personally don't think it's. I think that's a different thing altogether. I think demons is a separate category from elementals. I don't think demons can shapeshift into animals. Demons are more. They're not human, but they can possess human beings, obviously. But elementals, I think, is more the animal side of things that's been brought by either rituals or things like that. They're brought like doing their like out in the forest and they're doing their own thing, and they're bringing this spirit onto the earth, onto the plane, and I think this is where it's formed from. So I personally don't think that. No. Chicken. Jenny says chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
And I have to agree with that. I mean, when you think about the different kinds of elementals out there, the earth, fire, air, and water, you don't think of anything that's, I don't want to per se demonic or anything like that. You're thinking of the natural world and everything. So I think that was a great point.
Yeah. I think so.
Now I got a personal message here on Messenger about elements, so I'm gonna bring that up to you, Gary. See if it makes any sense. Is ask about the 4 different types of elementals, which we've already kind of covered that.
Yeah.
And it said that describe that earth is gnomes, wind is sylphs. Water is yeah. I'm some I have never heard of that before.
I personally have never heard of that.
Water is okay. Undine, and fire is salamanders.
Right.
And also elemental spirits are mostly kind but can be mischievous when their element is disturbed. Fire is the most mischievous. Undines and sylphs are known for bringing good fortune.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Who said that one? Who said that?
Tim, actually.
Oh, right. Very good, Tim.
Man, he's top notch.
That guy knows his stuff. So he does.
Yeah, so I was wondering if any of that makes sense to you, because like I said, I don't really know much about elementals at all.
Yeah.
So tonight, real education for me.
Absolutely. And guys in the chat, any of you know anything about elementals, certainly leave a message here and we'll certainly bring it up. Marissa is saying, will smudging or other house cleansing practices make them leave? I was actually talking about this earlier with a well-known demonologist. He's a grandson of the Warrens, and he was asked a similar question, and he says everyone's different, every spirit's different. He says with smudging, some spirits might want to leave, some spirits might want to stay. It all depends on their belief systems, on their religion, the way they were brought up, etc. And I thought, yeah, that's a very good answer. So yeah. I mean, if you were a spirit, and say, for instance, you were hanging around your loved ones in the house, and somebody came along with a smudging stick, would you want to leave? I know I wouldn't. Just my
No,
personal. Just my
that, that
personal. Yep, there you go, Scott. Just my personal opinion. Yeah. So
Yeah, I'm the kind of person that if I find a place I want to stay at, you ain't making me leave.
it's like the bar, the pub. You're not going to go unless it's closing hours.
Right.
You know.
I,
So
9 p.m. is my bedtime.
Yes,
mine
it
too.
is.
Mine too. So this is
Well, actually, it's more like once it's 8:55, I cannot get a hold of him.
yeah. I'm the same. I'm the same. People cannot get a hold of me after 9 p.m. I'm in naughty land. I'm usually up. I'm an early riser. I usually wake up about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. So
Yep, that's me. I'm up at 5 a.m. every morning.
yeah, there you
You
go.
know,
I'm already walking into my work at 5 o'clock.
My good lord, that's what happens when you hit 40 years of age.
Yeah. Okay,
Plus,
I got another question for you. This is more of a me thing here.
mhm.
Would an elemental be like in the case of what happened to Dustin at Lep Castle? Would an elemental spirit be prone to attack somebody if they really did not like what was going on?
Yeah,
Really
yeah.
attack somebody?
Well, I mean, you mentioned her, Dustin Parry, a laid back guy that normally. I mean, I watched him for years on uh, Ghost Hunters, and it happened to him. So yeah, I personally believe that. Yeah, I mean, there's energy around us all the time. Is an elemental full of energy where it can actually be forceful, where it can knock you to the ground. I think so. Yeah, and it's something that we don't really know. Do you know what I mean? It's something that nobody really is an expert in. So we're delving into something that we're not sure about. And if you're in a place that has history of it and you get knocked down to the ground, then I'd be pointing the finger at, yeah, that was you. You done that. So
but you know what makes me think when we talk about Dustin getting knocked down and elementals, just like most things in this world, like animals and humans and stuff, we are very territorial.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if you're in
yeah,
if you're in a place of an elemental and it's territorial, well, just like anything else, it's going to protect its territory, and that's what makes me think about that.
yeah, and you're walking into their environment as well. So you are. It's like a lion. You're walking into a territory. What's a lion going to do if you're walking into 10 feet of it? It's going to rip you apart. Because it feels threatened, and I mean, it's the same when you're investigating a house. We will always, when we go to a house to investigate, we're always very respectful. Over here, maybe you have different ways of doing it over in America, but here in Northern Ireland, we'll always be respectful and we will always ask for their permission for us to enter because it's being respectful at the end of the day. If you're just going to walk in and not say anything, then you're almost like trespassing. You're opening their door and you're walking into their environment. I mean, if you were alive and somebody walked into your house, you're not going to be happy about it. Do you know what I mean? So you're going to be respectful. And I think you need to be respectful to the spirit world. For you to be respectful to them, then they'll give that back tenfold. They'll be respectful back to you as well. You know.
Yeah, dude, I didn't, and I never think about stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, that is a great point.
Thank you. I'm old school. We're brought up differently over here, so yeah. But that's the way I was taught. I was taught that by a medium, because I remember we done a place in the Crumlin Road Jail in Belfast, and this place would be like Alcatraz. Your Alcatraz, but it's on dry land, obviously. And I remember him knocking the door, and I asked him, "Why are you knocking the door for?" And he says, "Because I'm being respectful. Because I'm asking them for permission to enter their environment." And I went, "That's a wonderful concept," and I took it on board. So yeah,
So that just kind of begs the question: is somebody knocks on the door asking for permission to come inside, and what if whatever is inside they actually say no, but you don't hear that until the
no,
next day or two, and you hear a very loud no on your EVP recorder.
Well, I remember, now this is very, very true. Talking back to the criminal jail, we used to do public events there, and we were up in a room called the Condemned Man's Cell. And this room was obviously it was the last room that you would have been brought into. And the way they'd done it over here was they never told you in those days when you were going to get executed. So you could have been in that room saying your prayers. A priest would come and say your prayers and do your religious things or whatever. And what they done was behind the condemned man's cell there was like a sliding door. It was a secret door, and when you were ready to be hung, within 20 seconds the priest would walk in with the executioner. He would slide open this door, and facing you would have been the noose that you were going to be hung on. Now you think at the time that is a cruel, evil thing to do, but if it was me, I would rather want to go quickly than having to think about it. So you could think of it that way too, where you have to put yourself in their environment, what they're thinking. So within 20 seconds of that door opening, you're brought out, a bag around your head or whatever, noose wrapped around you, and you're dropped 30 feet to the ground. So it sounds cruel, but at the same time, when you think about it, it's being humane. It's something. It's a way you'd probably want to go. It's a way I would want to go if I was in that situation. So
yeah, I think I would want to go where it's very quick and as painless as possible.
Yeah. Irene saying hi from Tokyo. Wow, Japan and the world of ghosts.
Yes.
That's cool.
Irene is actually a part of the Unity group that I'm a part of.
All right. Okay.
She's actually the only one that I know of from the whole Asian continent.
Yes.
Wow. That's the first time I've seen a comment come from Tokyo, so I think that's very cool.
Yeah, it's very awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So, go ahead, Jeremy. I knew you was going to say something.
Actually, I was just going to kind of stammer and stumble until I finally came up with something.
Thank the Lord for internet. So,
I know. Thank the Lord for live communication as well. I mean, it's amazing, and it's always entertaining to watch, because I would rather watch something that makes a blunder on a live than something that goes nice and smooth, because it's a blunder that you always think about.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
And we do all kinds of blunders and bloopers on this show.
Yeah.
We're the same.
My dogs were barking earlier. I think every episode, except for maybe the first one, we've had somebody's dogs are barking.
Yeah. Or snoring.
Oh yeah, we're talking about somebody else. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
In fact, a few weeks ago when we had Jenny on the show, I actually asked her, "Hey, where's your dog? I don't hear it snoring." She said, "Oh, I put it out of the room so it wouldn't interrupt the show." It's like, no, we want that.
Yeah.
It adds to the show, and it did.
I mean, how many people do you talk with a demonic dog snoring in the background, making demonic sounds? It's different, it's fresh, and it's out there. And we had the problem the night where Jenny's dogs all started to bark when she was doing the live, and I'm going, oh my God. And then I thought, no, actually, this is quite good. This is actually entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
So she just wrote LOL there in the chat there as well. So, hi, Mort, how's it going? Sorry, just reading the comments there.
Oh, you're good. I know we're talking about elementals. So I brought up a page, and it talks about water, and I like their example. They talk about mermaids. Well, we've all heard of mermaids. We've heard fishermen and the folklore behind mermaids, dude, and I absolutely love that example.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe that. I mean, mermaids, the Loch Ness monster. Is it all real? It's all probably, I don't know. It's probably just legend or whatever. But it would be a nice thought to know that there's mermaids floating about under fisher boats and things like that. It just, I don't know. It's just exciting to know the things. It's always exciting to know things that you don't know. Like the paranormal, beyond the normal. And I think that's what the fascination is with us as seasoned investigators. That we're always looking for answers to questions. So.
Right. Have you ever gone looking for Nessie?
No, but I would love to. I would love. Yeah. High five.
Take me.
There you go.
Take me.
Yep. There we go. There we go. I would love to. I really would. I mean, we're going to Scotland. Myself and Jenny. I mean, I'm just saying this now. We're off to Scotland. At the start of January with my daughter, and we're going over to one of the most haunted cities in the world. It's Glasgow, Edinburgh, and it's going to be an amazing, amazing place. But yeah, so it's all good. It's all good. So it is. Yeah.
I was actually when Scott was asking about elementals earlier, and somebody had brought up. I think it was you, Scott, talking about mermaids and fairies, and you brought up something else. I forget what it was. Yep.
Oh,
Really?
Leprechaun.
See, that's what I was going to do. I was going to throw out some dumb questions, about leprechauns and trolls and.
We've got plenty of trolls over here, by the way. We'll get them.
Yeah.
Not as many leprechauns, but we got loads of trolls.
I actually had said something about that on one of last week's show, Gary, with you and Jenny about leprechauns. And everybody was kind of like making fun of me. And I'm like, no, like, dude, I'm serious. Like, is there folklore over in Ireland? And, and that kind of stuff's always intrigued me. And this stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's very serious over here. So a lot of people take it very seriously, and you have to really, because people think of leprechauns as little tiny green men looking for the pot of gold, but actually they're evil wee. Can I swear? Is it after 9 p.m. watershed? But no, they can be evil wee spirits, and you do not want to cross a leprechaun. And it's one of them things that's been embedded in us growing up with the leprechauns and the banshee and etc. And those are things that you don't want to ignore because your parents, your grandparents have told you this growing up. I mean, I've had. I mean, some of our former colleagues in the team have had experiences with a banshee. Where one of them actually, her brother had heard a crying out of his bedroom window one night. Him and his friend heard it to the point where it scared the living daylights out of him and his friend. And these guys are only 21, 22 years of age. Nothing would scare these guys, because when you're that age, when I was about 90 years ago, you know yourselves, guys. You've been there, you've done it. You don't, these things don't fizz on you. You just laugh that off. But for some reason, it actually scared these two guys. So now the way he said it was like a blood curdling scream or cry, and to the point where it gave them the hackles on the back of the necks or the goosebumps on the arms. And then 3 days later, his father actually died.
Wow.
Unexpectedly, he died. He got a blood clot in the brain and he dropped dead. So
it
makes you think.
Yeah, I mean, and the folklore is if you hear a banshee, it says something about I do believe a family member is going to pass or something like that. That's just
it's either a family member or somebody who knows of somebody in that family is going to pass away, and I'm quite skeptical about it. Now, touch wood, I shouldn't say that, but I mean, I always try to rationalize everything, and I'm thinking maybe somebody heard like a cat cry out their bedroom window one night, and they made this story about a banshee. But no, there's more to it behind it than that. It's been embedded in Irish folklore for hundreds of years, and there's a lot more to it than just that. There really is. I mean, so many families have claimed to have heard the banshee. But I mean, it's not only a banshee. I mean, there's different types of banshees around the world. Not only banshee, but you've other types of. I mean, are the spirits around the world not only the banshee, but different names under different cultures? I mean, you've got one in Mexico, you've got one in America, you've got one in Scotland under different names. So, what are these? Are they the center of death? You know, it makes you think. It makes you think. You know, so I believe there's a lot more to it than what actually is going on. I really do. It's like the UFOs. I really do. I believe that.
I think a banshee is definitely something I really want to look more into at some point.
Yeah, but is it really? Because when you hear the story of it, you want to look into it, and it causes is it a messenger of death? And I don't know. If you put earplugs in, you'll be all right.
Well, for me, all I gotta do is take my hearing aids off, and I can't hear anything at that point. So,
I'm the same. I'm the same.
right, Scott?
I've got a bad hearing anyway, so I mean, I don't hear Jenny half the time talking, which is a good thing. So
How is that possible? She talks a lot, dude.
really, no.
Wait till you have her and Tim on your show. That's going to be.
Oh God. Well, that's a good thing. I mean, she was starstruck the night. We had Chris McCannell on, the grandson of the Warrens, on our show, and Jenny was to interview him. And as soon as he came on, she just, Gary, can you take over for a second? Yeah, she was starstruck. So yeah,
That's awesome. That is awesome.
yeah,
Hey,
he's a brilliant guy.
I love you guys. So
Oh, thank you, thank you.
He's giving you a little flack for that right now.
She just said, "Oh, for God's sake, LOL." Really, LOL. Yeah, yeah. I had to bring it up. I mean, it's there to be seen. Everyone can see it. So yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny.
Yeah.
Okay, to flip the switch a little bit, tell us about the podcast that you and Jenny have. You guys just started it very recently, right?
Yeah, it was done as a bit of fun about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We talked about it originally about 2 or 3 months ago, but we couldn't get the connection, so we put it to the back burner. But then we thought, we'll give it another go, and we done just it was just a pilot show with myself, Jenny, and a couple of friends on, and it had massive viewing figures. So I thought maybe we're onto something here. So then we thought, why don't we try it for maybe a month's trial basis? And so we decided to call it the Ghost Whispers in the Night chat show, and it's taken off really well. So it was Jenny's idea. She brought it to me, and we just came up with a name. And I mean, I was originally a host in another show, and I've been doing it for years. I'm a professional radio operator with Radio Ham, so it's sort of embedded in me. But Jenny's, she's a virgin that she's never done anything like this before. But I have to say, guys, she's an absolute natural, as you probably know. So that's how this chat show was formed. It was formed as a bit of fun at the start, but yeah, we're taking it really seriously now, and it's fantastic. It really is good.
Well, when it comes to being able to have a podcast, you really got to know how to talk to people, how to relate to people. And I've talked to Jenny many, 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 many times up until the wee late hours in the morning. And she is very good at it. So
she is. She's a good talker.
And you guys got a good chemistry, and that's always important,
Yeah, you need to have. Well, I pretend to have chemistry, but I can't stand her really. But
I think we just opened up a can here tonight.
Yeah. Probably get murdered tonight during the night. She'll probably send a banshee down at my door.
Oh, a leprechaun.
Or a leprechaun, but I've no gold here, so I'm all right.
Okay.
Well, I just picked Jeremy because she's got nice long hair.
Sorry, I'm just trying to read these.
Stephen is always dotted on my hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yours is looking a little flat.
Flat? Yeah, it's called head,
I've got a COVID lockdown here going on here, so I need a massive haircut.
Your hair is normally not that long.
Who's Scott's or mine?
Yours.
Oh, mine. My hair's my hair's not usually as long. It's usually shaved, but sure. What do you expect in the middle of a world epidemic? You know what I mean? So, talking about world epidemic, how are you guys doing over there? Are you getting out much?
Well,
Investigating? Sorry,
we
are you
don't have much of a
investigating much or?
Yeah, where we're at, we don't have much of a lockdown right now, but I'm expecting it
Alright.
to happen any day.
Yeah.
We did have a lockdown where, oh man, almost everything was closed except for, well, see, this is what got me, is that they were going to close everything except for essential businesses. And then they started rolling out this whole list of what is essential. And I'm looking at this. Well, that means they're only going to close like 5% of the businesses in the whole country.
Mm.
So they say it's a lockdown, but it's not really a lockdown. It's like, and I don't know how it is over there, but over here, the whole COVID thing has been one big political play as well.
Yeah, no, we.
At least in my views.
Yeah, I mean, I know the south of Ireland was very, very strict, and probably the north as well. We are about another week. Next Friday, I think, is when our lockdown ends. Or hopefully, I mean, we were to go to a place called the Hellfire Club in Dublin. I don't know if you've heard of that or not.
I want to go there real bad.
You have heard of it, yeah. Well, we investigated that about 5 years ago, and we were to go down to do a live feed. There, it sits on Mount Pellier Hill, which is probably about 20 kilometers outside of Dublin. People think it's in Dublin, but it's not. It's on the outskirts of Dublin, and it's to get there. You have to walk up. It's about a mile and a half up a mountain, and I see all the hearts coming up here on the chat. But it's apparently supposed to be one of the most haunted locations in the world. I think Ghost Adventures was there. I think they'd done a Halloween Live there a couple of years ago, and it's supposed to be an evil spirit that resides in the place. Now we were there 5 years ago, and we I have to admit, put my hands up, we really had a good investigation there, and I know a lot of paranormal teams that go there as well. Have had a really good experiences, whether it's EVPs, disembodied voices, scratches, temperature drops, etc. Now, the temperature drops could be explained because you're about 2,000 feet above sea level, so you're going to automatically get that anyway. So I mean, there's so many different things, and I mean, it's supposed to have a connection with the Hellfire Caves, I believe, in England as well. There's some type of connection there which we're going to look into, because a friend of mine, he does.
Hi, Cat.
Hi, Cat. He's one of the residing teams that investigate the Hellfire Caves in England, and he was telling me there's a connection, so I'm going to look into that. But that was one of the locations that we were to go to, so hopefully we'll be doing a live feed there in December from Mount Pellier Hill, and it'll be the Hellfire Club. So cool place.
We have been talking, me, Scott, Tim, and Crystal. We have been talking about doing. This is a real long shot, but it's still possible that we may actually be able to do this. But we're talking about doing some sort of a world tour, as 13th Dimensions, and taking our show to different countries. Ireland,
That'd be cool.
Definitely one of the hot spots that we want to hit up on.
Yeah.
And there's one place over there, and this was actually my introduction to elementals, my first introduction of any kind to them, and that was it was filmed for ghost hunters, and it was according to what I'm reading here is called the Lachine Ruins. Are you familiar with that?
I might have heard of it. I think it's down the south of Ireland. I think it's something to do with.
It's in County Offaly.
I think it's close to the Hellfire Club. I think it's close to that. I think I've heard of it. Yeah. Now I could be wrong, but I'm not saying that it's gospel, but I think it's close to the Hellfire Club. I really do. Yeah.
Because they were, let's see, Jason and Grant, they had their thermal camera and they were pointing out somewhere and caught one of their cameramen. He was doing one of the off-site filming, trying to capture the entire area. And it was just him by himself. But on the thermal, they found three entities behind him following closely, like they were animals, but there were no animals around.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah, that's near the Hellfire. That's near the Hellfire Club. I remember that. Yeah, that's right. It was a thermal imaging camera, wasn't it? If I remember, and those three wee green or red dots that seemed to be following them. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, there was never, at least from what I've seen, there was never any kind of an explanation later on as to what they actually were. I don't like I said, there was never any mention of animals anywhere around. They certainly did not look like they were animals. But with the thermal, it was really clear. But
yeah. Well, when I looked at the footage originally, I thought it was sheep because we have a lot of sheep down here. And of course they stick in flocks. They stick together. And the way they were moving it to me, it looked like sheep. But I mean, I would like to think it wasn't. Just my personal opinion, but that's a skepticism in me. So I'm not sure what it was. I really don't. Now, don't get me wrong. Out of all the equipment that we have, I would say the thermal imager would probably be as good as your bog standard night vision camcorder and your EVP voice recorder. I don't know about you guys, whether you use phone apps. It's one thing that we don't use is phone apps. We don't believe in that.
Nope.
It's like walking into a nightclub, listening to bang, bang, bang music. You're not going to get anything because you're listening to a third party thing that has no rational explanation to record or document anything supernatural at all whatsoever. So phone apps for me is what it is. It's a phone app. It's not designed to record anything supernatural. Just my personal opinion.
Well, I will say something about the phone app. When I was just starting in the field myself, and I had downloaded some apps on my phone. One of them was an EMF meter, and I thought, okay, well, let's test this out. It did the complete opposite of what an actual EMF meter would do. That it would spike everywhere, but as soon as I would get it next to a circuit breaker, dead. Yeah. I know it was weird. I would put it on a wall that had no electricity at all. I mean, it spiked all the way up to red, and you get the random spikes. Yeah, this is not really something that any investigator should actually use. And I've tried a couple of different apps just to see, and every one of them, in my opinion, has failed miserably.
Well, the thing is too, Jeremy, is that, when people use apps like the EMF, as you said, it doesn't have the right components in there to measure EMF.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't, it's not designed to measure EMF. It's designed to communicate as a mobile phone. So, that's me just being rational about it. Not unless there's certain components in it that I don't know that's how that reads EMF. I don't know. But for me, it's like a cat's eyes. It was invented for something completely different, but it works amazingly well. The eyes in the road, when your car light hits it, it lights up during the night. Such a simple idea, but it's effective and it works. I'm not one for... I personally don't believe in phone apps. For me, it's just a fun application. It's entertaining to watch. It's the same with the SLS camera. I don't know if you guys use the SLS camera. I don't know. Do you? You know what it is, obviously.
Nope.
They're using Ghost Adventures, a structured light sensors camera, SLS camera.
Okay, yeah.
You know the wee stick figures. You know, it maps out certain objects. Now that again, we're back to, you know, Jeremy, you said about mobile phones with the EMF detector. There's no components in there to read EMF, so it's giving you a false negative. It's giving you a false reading. It's the same with the SLS. When the SLS camera was designed for the stick figures, etc., I'm being all scientific here and technical minded, was designed where it measures objects within the dots. The dots maps out like a what do you call that? Like a mapping system on your what do you call those maps that you get on your phones? I'm getting tired. It's 1 o'clock. I'm getting tired. But basically, what it does, it measures objects. But the thing with spirits is spirits aren't a solid object. They're transparent. They're see-through. They're not solid. So the SLS measures objects. It makes it virtually impossible to measure a spirit.
Yeah. Well, what it is that the way that I see it is that the SLS is trying to grab at anything to put its dots on and make up whatever figure it can make.
Yeah, I mean, we used it. We were the first team in Ireland, and I think the UK as well. We got this sent over to us with two friends that were doing a paranormal TV show, very well known people in the paranormal field, and I'm personal friends with these people. And they sent me over one that was designed from Australia, and we tested it for 6 months. And what we found was we were down in a place called the Athenaeum down in just outside of in Wexford, and we had 2 chairs up on the stage. So one of our investigators sat on the stage on the chair, and we says, right, if there's a spirit there, if you could go over and sit beside our friend on the stage, and then of course the light structured camera is mapping out on the tablet, and it's sending back a signal where it's mapping out the chair, and of course within that chair it's mapping out a wee stick figure. And that's when we thought, oh, this is maybe giving us a false reading here. So the more we tested it, the more we came up with the same thing over and over again, that it was measuring objects. So it's only for us personally, it's only for entertainment purposes, nothing else. So
And I agree with that. You download apps like that, you know, like on your phone. A lot of the time in the disclaimer, it will say for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah,
but
100%.
People out there who will download it and take it as an absolutely real thing, and that makes it hard. Because
it makes it hard, Scott, because you know we've all been there. We've all been in the field from an early start, and when you're going out in this hobby, you want to believe in everything you see, because why go in and sit in the dark for 6 hours when you're not getting anything? You want to get something straight away, and by using these phone apps or whatever, it's giving you a reading straight away, and of course you're going to get excited about it, and then you think, well, why is it being used on TV? For entertainment purposes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for me personally speaking, for us, we're old school. We just use the proper equipment that can record and document and doesn't give you false negatives. It's giving you a proper reading, whether it's a camcorder. I mean, we've got some of our best EVPs caught in camcorder. The thing with voice recorder, and Jenny will string me up for this, the thing with voice recorder, if you've got a camcorder and you've got a voice recorder, and say, for instance, you're in a large room and somebody's talking, and you're using a voice recorder, and then you play that back, you think, oh my God, I've caught a spirit here. But if you have a camcorder and you capture that person speaking, it gives you a more understanding of what's going on. So it's giving you a proper documentation of, oh, there's somebody talking. It's not an EVP at all. It's somebody in the back room talking. So this is the difference between camcorder. Camcorders can record as well as EVPs on voice recorders. They can, and it gives you a wee bit better option of capturing something that's more supernatural, that you can see with your own eyes, not only with your ears, but you can see with your own eyes. You know exactly what's going on in the room. So
What gets me are people who like to use their EMF meters and go live on Facebook with it.
Phone signal,
Yeah,
creating a signal. Yeah. And again,
and
that's
they,
down to,
they
I
just
mean,
don't like that.
a lot of people don't understand. I mean, that really irritates me. Where you're going close to an EMF device, and of course, the radiation of the phone's going to create that signal, and it's going to affect the EMF field within the EMF meter detection device. And of course, when you move away, it stops, and then you get these people, like in events teams, whatever, and it's, to me, it's up to them at the end of the day. If they're doing it for entertainment purposes and people believe in that, or they want to be entertained, that's fine. I've no objection to that. But it irritates people like us and yourselves, know exactly what's causing that, but they'll never admit it. And this is the irritating thing all about it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Unfortunately, there are a lot of uneducated people in terms of how we do what we do.
Yep, there is, unfortunately, but I mean, we've all been there. We all have to learn every day, and when there's no
Yeah.
experts, I don't care what people say in the field. I mean, you get people coming out saying they're experts in the paranormal. There's no such thing, because we're all learning every day. I'm still learning, and I've been at this over 20 years, And I learned today from Chris that we had on tonight's show, the grandson of the Warrens, and I learned a lot from that guy. Incredible, you know. You think you know everything, but you don't really. You learn.
It's amazing what you will learn and from whom you will learn from.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with people with Rob Demers from Ghost Hunters International. I've worked with Barry Fitzgerald from Ghost Hunters International. I've worked with Brian Chicano from The Haunted Collector. I've worked with Chris Holton from very well known investigator in the UK. We've worked with the best. I personally believe I've worked with the best of them in the field, and you learn from them. And those guys don't go down the TV route. Away from the TV program, these guys know their stuff. They really do, and they're knowledgeable, and they're happy to pass that on to people like us that's willing to learn. And that's where I've learned a lot from it. So it is. So
I had the opportunity to work with Rob. He actually, for a short time, lived in my town.
All right. So you're near Florida then, are you? Or
Indiana. He was living in Indiana for a little while.
all right. He does travel a lot with his job before Ghost
Yeah.
Hunters International. He did travel a lot.
Yeah, and we actually had it scheduled to where we were going to be doing an investigation at a location, Randolph County Infirmary, and right before we were going to have the investigation there, his situation changed, and he ended up having to leave town much earlier than he expected to. So we missed out on the chance to work with Rob that night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Rob knows it.
Rob and I were looking forward to that. We were chatting almost every day. But he was ready to go. I was ready to work with him. And then next thing you know, he had to leave, and now he's in North Carolina.
Yep. And he was in Florida for a few years as well with his job away from Ghost Hunters. He had a high profile job, let's just say, but it was in another country. I can't really talk much about that, but he did travel around a lot with his job away from Ghost Hunters International. Sorry, I'm just reading a message here. Jenny apparently got touched in Lep Castle in the gallery room by, possibly could have been the elemental. I don't know, but we all know Jenny's quite skeptical on it, but that's hard to explain. It really is. But yeah, no, Rob Demers is a nice guy. He really is.
Yeah.
Very, very knowledgeable. He knows his stuff as well.
Oh yeah, we were talking quite a bit about equipment and different techniques and experiments that I was doing that he was interested in trying out. Like, for example, he was going to test out the dog whistle theory that I've had. I don't know if he's had a chance to do that, or maybe he might have even forgotten about that by now. So
That's a very good idea, actually, because Jenny told me about that as well. The dog whistle. Who did you actually think of that idea?
I did. It was
Fair
just on
play.
a whim because the team and I were doing the jail in Crown Point, and we had that place for 2 nights. The first night it was really dead. Almost nothing happened there at all. And the next day we were all going out for breakfast and lunch, and it just struck me about the dog whistling and the different frequencies and everything. It's like, you know what? I'm going to go get me a dog whistle. It took me 3 locations before I finally found one. They were all sold out except for it's called the Crown Point Feed and Seed. It's just a little mom and pop building, and I found 2 of them, and I got them. And I tested it that night, and that place was jumping.
You see, you're doing something different that hasn't been done probably never before, and that's amazing. I mean, we came up with this idea where if spirits can communicate through electronic devices, if they can communicate through, I'm bringing my radio home out on me here. If spirits can communicate through frequencies, then what is a voice recorder? A voice recorder is recording frequencies. There's frequencies around us 24/7 that we can't hear unless we're recording it and documenting it. So the only way you're going to do that is by using a voice recorder or whatever, some type of device that can record it. So it was one night I came up with this idea where if spirits can communicate through white noise or through electronic devices like voice recorders, it's like a ghost box where if you can actually filter out the contamination, where I personally believe that when you're doing a voice recording of an EVP, you're actually picking up probably radio frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you're going to control that is by filtering it. And by filtering it, the best filter that you can do is either put it inside a piece of tin foil or put it inside a metal box. Now, we came up with the idea that on one of our investigations is that we will try this theory, and we will put a voice recorder in a room that is apparently very, very haunted, but we will filter it out, so it's filtering out all outside contamination, and we'll put it inside a tin box. But not only that, inside a tin box, there was a couple of wee tiny holes, and we left a walkie-talkie beside it, going on the theory that if spirits are communicating through electronic devices, they can communicate through a walkie-talkie. So the only way that we're going to communicate through the walkie-talkie is with another walkie-talkie. So what we done was that we put a voice recorder at the far end of the building, put it inside a tin box, put a walkie-talkie beside it, and we were at the other end of the building with a locked off camcorder, 3 camcorders watching the voice recorder. So communicating instead of shouting, because if spirits can communicate through electronic devices, why is it possible that spirits can communicate through listening on an electronic device, i.e. a walkie-talkie, i.e. using frequencies? Are you with me?
Yes, absolutely.
Spot on. So we tried this experiment where we were at the far end communicating on a radio frequency, believe that spirits can communicate and manipulate radio frequencies, but not only that, but cutting out all outside contamination on the voice recorder by using an electronic device beside it on a radio frequency, asking the spirit to communicate through these radio frequencies onto the voice recorder. But when we've done that experiment, the batteries strangely, when we asked, can you communicate when we count to 3 to speak into the voice recorder, when we counted to 3, the voice recorder battery had died, and also the battery on the walkie-talkie had died, so we couldn't fulfill that experiment.
Wow.
Man.
So we're going to try it again. And we're going to try it at the Hellfire Club in Mount Palier Hill.
Dude, that is awesome.
It is. The tin box thing, is that, how similar would that be to what's It's like a cage.
Faraday cage.
Yes. Yeah.
Very similar. Where when you think about it, I mean, we're talking now, and we're talking through electronic devices, but through the human ear. I mean, when we're talking to our family, whatever, every day, and our friends, we can hear the frequencies that's around us. The only way we can hear it is by using electronic devices. So if you're using a voice recorder, it is possible that you're actually picking up radio frequencies, telephone frequencies, ship to shore, air ambulance, the police, the Garda, the list goes on, you know what I mean? So the only way you're going to control it, I believe, is by filtering it. And the only way you're going to filter it is by enclosing it inside a tin box. And what that does is that cuts out outside contamination by probably about 95, 96%. So it gives you a more controlled element of your experiment.
Hey, Scott, I think we're going to have to try that out sometime.
Dude, that is
Try it
absolutely.
out, guys. Try it out. I mean, we done it for the first time, and I think a few other teams have followed suit by trying that experiment, and we're waiting on the results back. But it's a good idea. It's only I'm bringing my radio ham into this because of what I've learned over the years. I mean, there's a certain thing where, do you know what a condenser microphone is?
I don't.
No, a condenser microphone is an amplified microphone. I mean, if your voice recorder is probably 10% on power recording through a microphone, a condenser microphone, the volume quality of recording is up by 90%. So basically, a condenser microphone will pick up a pin drop. Okay, so what we found with using condenser microphones is that when you're using a microphone lead, say more than 60 feet, you've got the inner wire and then you've got the outer braiding. Now we found the outer braiding is working as an antennae, and there was a TV program over here. I think it was called Northern Ireland's Greatest Hunts, and they'd done an experiment using a condenser microphone in a place called Dobbins in Carrickfergus. And what I noticed straight away, which was a fault because I'm experienced at this, is when they were doing the recording, they had put a medium into the room, and the medium was asking questions, and there was a condenser microphone that was recording her talking to spirits, and it was almost like a live EVP session where she was asking the spirits to communicate through this microphone. And then the microphone obviously was transmitting down into your computer system, and the computer system is recording off like a voice recording program. But what I noticed was that when they done the playback, they were picking all these amazing voices up. But what they didn't know is up from Dobbins Inn, 3 doors up, there's a taxi company. And what they didn't do was the antenna, the aerial lead, anything more than 25 feet acts like an antenna. So when the taxi company was a few doors up and they were communicating on their frequencies, the coax of the microphone lead to the computer or to their laptop was acting as an antenna, and it was picking up the taxi company. And when they were doing the recording, it was picking them up talking on their microphones. So, but there's a way around it. If you wrap the coax of the aerial lead up on a microphone by 7 loops, it works as it's a thing called an RF choke, which is a radio frequency choke. It cuts out all contamination, and there's a ways around everything. So
I'll be right back.
Okay, not a problem.
There is something I've been wanting to try. I've suggested it to some other teams, and they think it's a good idea. I'll suggest it to you as well. When you're talking about going old school, I'd like to go old school, and this was actually something that was it was on Paranormal Challenge. It wasn't intended to happen, but it did. But I would like to see if we may be able to communicate to and be communicated with using Morse code.
Okay. I mean, you need. I mean, I know Morse code. It's one of the things that you do in radio amateur. I know Morse code. I done my exam. Must be 20 years ago. The only thing with doing that is you need to know Morse code. Now, saying that, this is very true, and this actually happened. Um, we were down in a place. It was a fort, an old fort down in the south of Ireland, and there was an old radio transmitter. So what I done was I'd came up with this idea. Why don't we put a voice recorder in the hearing set of the transmitter, and we'll ask questions. We'll try to recreate almost like a go back in time in their time, but put a. It's like like the stone brick theory. A lot of people, when they do the stone brick theory, they've never thought of the idea is that when they're in a castle or whatever, why do people always record outside the brick? Why didn't I put a recording inside the brick to record the stone brick theory? It's a simple idea. Why, I don't know if anyone's ever tried it, but what we done was we put a microphone inside this old World War II radio transmitter, and we were asking questions. And believe it or not, we got a response on the frequency on the recording that was inside the box. By asking questions, we got two possible answers to our questions. And one of them, I can't remember, I'll have to go back to it, but it was something to do with, when we looked up on it, it was something to do with the way they would have talked back in their time. It was really, really interesting. So
we got a question here for you by Nick Millay. He's getting ready to sign off for tonight, but he wants to know, he's making up a Unity video in response to the COVID pandemic, and he plans on making this an international project. He would like for you to leave your name, team, podcast, and anything that you're associated with that he might be able to throw onto his video project.
Yeah, Nick, that would be a great pleasure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what we've learned over the years, we're happy to put it out there to other people like your sales guys and us with yous. We love learning every day. So yeah, that sounds exciting, Nick. Absolutely, 100%. I really appreciate that. Yeah,
Nick,
big thumbs
get
up.
a hold of Gary. Get him on Facebook, Gary Ruddel Walters, if you're still on here.
Yep. Nick, if you can send me a message, Nick, on my messenger, Gary Ruddel Waters, and send me more information on that, we'll definitely look into that for you. 100%. Yep. Sounds good. Yep.
So Scott, I was just talking to Gary when you were stepping away. I would like to try to communicate with something using Morse code.
Yeah, now I think I remember we talking about that at one time, and I thought, man, that would be such a great idea.
Yeah. But Gary did have a good point, which I don't think any of us thought of, is that we actually need to have somebody who knows Morse code to help us.
And that's the point. Oh, absolutely. Because you can't just deep. Yeah.
Right. Although
yeah,
with the horn on my forklift at work, it's on beep, 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 beep.
I mean, there's things you can do, guys. I mean, my son has an app on his phone, and he played something the other day that there was a song came on, and he didn't know what it was. And this app actually reads the name of the song. Now, there could be possibly a Morse code version of that. Just an idea. So something to think about.
And you, Jeremy, I'm pretty sure we know enough people. I bet you we might have somebody who knows somebody that might be able to do that for us.
Yeah, and the best places you're going to try it is like an old air base or something like that. That would be your best bet to go down, because the spirits would know what the Morse code is in those locations, if you know what I mean. If you're going to go to like a pub or somewhere, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, definitely not a pub.
No, some Morse code, I guess. Some Morse code. I mean, wouldn't it stand to reason that mostly Navy guys would know Morse code?
Yep, the Navy and the RAF will know Morse code. Yeah.
Yeah. So
but look into that, guys. There might be a reader that can read Morse code there might be an app out there that maybe reads Morse code as well. Just a suggestion, but you could try that.
Right on.
Actually, now that you've said that, I do remember looking on for an app. Um, I think I have something on here for Moisco. Yeah, I do.
Did we just criticize those apps?
I know. Well,
So sorry, guys.
I'm
There's
a
only
walking contradiction. So
Anthony's just came in there, a friend of mine. He says you can use a torchlight for Morse code, no, the dash and the quick flash and the long flash. Again, you could do it that way as well because they would have done that on the ship to shore during the World War times. You know, the flashing light on submarines, etc. That would work as well. So that's a very good idea.
Yeah, because a lot of the times that's how battleships and aircraft carriers will.
Yeah, in those days, and I mean the Titanic ship that before it sank, apparently it sent Morse code to two or three different ships, and that's how they sent out. You know, there was something going on. By the time they got to the ship, obviously it sank, but that's how old Morse code actually is. You know.
yeah, I definitely love this. Working up different ideas and theories of things that you can do. Like I really like the idea of putting a recorder inside of a tin box.
Yep, it's the same with your ghost box. You know, we again, it's like an AVP recorder where it's open for contaminants. It's open for any type of contamination at all. Once you record, it's going to record anything that it can hear, and it's on. I mean, our voice is on a frequency, so it's recording electronic frequencies as well. And the only way you're going to control it is by filtering it. But it's the same with the ghost box, where it's scanning through multiple frequencies. And again, by contaminating that, if you're ever in well, also I don't know if you're in a castle or down in a tunnel, or it will block out any place that blocks out signal. You're controlling that a lot more. You know, but if you're standing in a busy street, of course your ghost box is going to pick up everything, taxis, police, whatever. But by putting it in that box, it controls it. So.
Um, Kat wants to know: Have you ever heard? Have you ever heard a capture that seems to sound like another language?
Yes, we have. Now, there's a thing. I mean, when we're down the south of Ireland, we will pick up a lot of Gaelic because you're in that country. So obviously it's scanning and it's picking up radio frequencies as well. Are you picking up a different language, or are you just picking up, the is that through Ghostbox, or is that through electron EVPs? Sorry. I don't know, but we used to get excited when we were down the south. We would ask a question, we'd come back in Gaelic. But you have to remember, you're down the south of Ireland. You're going to pick up Gaelic on radio frequencies, So if you pick up something you ask in French and you're down the south of Ireland, then that's a different story. That makes it more credible to what you've captured, I mean, there's a perfect example. We were in the Crumlin Road jail and in Belfast, and there was a TV company had came over. It's like a travel channel in America, but this was a travel channel in Australia, and this was it was a travel TV program, and they approached us. Would we be interested in doing to take them around the Crumlin Road jail? And these two presenters were absolute skeptics. So there was myself, there was my wife Karen, and there was two other investigators, Warren, who's still in the team, and there was another lady there. So we were down in one of the condemned man cells, down in the lower levels. And when you're in a prison, you're not going to get any type of signal at all, because you know yourselves, guys. Well, we know here, prison walls are 2.5, 3 they're thick, they're huge. So you're not going to get any type of radio signal coming through them walls. So my wife had started this. I'll send you this actually, because this is on YouTube. So one of the Australian guys, complete skeptic, says, right, there was 3 cameramen there. There was 2 soundsmen. You had the producer, the sounds person, director, in behind the cameras, and they were all getting ready, setting up and all. So my wife explained what we're going to do for this experiment. So my wife we didn't have to filter it because we knew the walls were doing the filtering for us. So it's cutting out all outside contaminants. So my wife started to use the voice recorder, and one of the guys, my wife asked, "Do you want to ask a question?" So one of the presenters had said, what country are we from? And this voice came back in an Australian accent. He says, Australia. So the guy stands back as white as my jumper, and he went white as a ghost. And he heard it. His other presenter heard it. The soundsman heard it. The producer heard it. And by this stage, all the laughing had stopped. They started to take it really serious. So then the other presenter then asked, that sounded like Australia. He says, I'm going to ask a question. So he says, can you say my name? Now, this guy's name is called Kim, which is mainly a woman's name, which is very rare to have a man's name called Kim, but it's Australian name as well. And this voice came back and he says, Kim. And he went, holy shit. And he looked at the presenter and the other presenter looked at him, and they just went completely white. And by the end of the night, by the time that we had finished that investigation, they both came over to us and they said, we're not skeptics anymore. So
that's great. That is amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes that one thing to turn a skeptic into a believer.
Yeah, and these two were complete skeptics, and they went away believing. So. And it was all captured. It was all captured on you. It's on YouTube. I'll send you the footage if I remember tomorrow. I'll send you the footage. Watch that.
Yeah, please do.
At Crown Point, I've never heard my name called until we went to Crown Point. So
yeah,
that was cool for me though.
Yeah, it is. It makes it. Getting that communication with spirit world. It's always, you always want to go beyond, your normal, you know what I mean? And when you get that communication, when you ask for your name and it says your name, and of course you always think, oh, did that say my name, until you're recording it and you play it back and it does say your name. Then that's verification for you, and you know that you've had the communication, and that's what it's all about, and that's what you want as an investigator. You want proof, you know what I mean? And
oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the only proof that you're going to get really is, okay, you're relying on electronic devices. Is there any electronic device to prove to us today that spirits exist? Not really, because we're still experimenting every day. Will there ever be a device that will come out in my time, in your time? We don't know. Will there be a device that comes out in the future? We don't know. Will there ever be proven the spirit world exists? The only way we're going to know is when we all go over to the other side, But it's still, people like us, we have to keep pushing forward,
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
We need to keep pushing forward.
One of the reasons why I'm gearing my own team more towards doing a little bit of research besides just doing investigations, testing out things and see what works and see what doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, Jenny's just said there she remembers watching that footage as well. But I'll send you just because it's fascinating. It really is, and the expression on these guys' faces just says it all about the him asking for Australia and his name Kim, and it's just amazing. It really is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I like the fact that we're going and we're trying new things. We're gonna do different experiments and test just different theories, man. And dude, I can't wait, man.
Yeah, I mean,
in fact, there is an experiment that I would like to recommend to you, Gary.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
It actually came from a team in New York called You and I Research, John Griffin's team, and I think it was his brother who actually came up with the concept. But they're using long exposure photography on their investigations.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is that they're setting the camera on a tripod and they're focusing in just one area, hoping that not only that something is going to cross the camera that they may capture it, but what they're doing in addition to that is they're taking a laser pen, and while the camera is taking its picture, the guy is going back and forth with the laser pen on the wall or wherever they're pointing at, thinking that if something does appear in the picture, it's going to break those green lines, and a figure is going to pop out in that group. So
The only thing I'd be a bit skeptical about is when you're flashing a pen about everywhere, it's going to create wonderful images. That's the only downside of it. That's my personal opinion, but it's something I've never tried. But it's a good idea. Yes, certainly, absolutely. Try everything.
we tried it 3 times now, Scott.
I think so. Because I know you tried it.
We tried it at the Davies house and we did it at Crown Point.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that might have been the only 2 places we've done it. Yeah.
And how did you find it? Did it work for you?
Instead of using a laser pen, because when they're using the laser pen, they're just going really fast trying to color in the picture. And the pictures that they've shown me is that you see all the individual lines. And they wanted to be able to cover more. So what I did is I pulled out my Christmas light laser grid and used it. And
Yeah.
it colored in the entire picture. I mean, all you see is green. I mean, you can still see everything inside the picture. Like when we were at the jail, we were doing the juvenile floor, which is where all the younger ones were in there, all the beds and everything. And you can still see the beds, you can still see the mattresses and everything in there, but everything's just green.
Right.
And we thought that we captured something. But when you're doing the long exposure, it actually saves it on 2 files. One is the regular JPEG file, and the other one is I don't remember what it stands for, but it's an NEF file, and that one is actually a little more cleaner, where you can see more details and everything. Whereas the JPEG file, it just kind of floods everything in, like. At the jail, it's all brick walls. On the JPEG file, you cannot see the individual bricks. It's all green, bright. On the NEF file, you see the bricks.
All right. Okay. Right.
So by going back and forth between the 2 pictures, the 2 files of the same picture, we were able to determine that what we thought we were seeing was actually something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
But still, I thought it was a really cool concept.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah.
And
yeah, it's cool.
What I want to do is figure out a way to program the camera so that while it's doing the long exposure photography, is that it's actually videotaping that process so that you can see all the movements with the pen.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. I mean, we have a it's a body camera. It's a night vision body camera that we use, and if you're doing like daytime investigations and you're walking into dark areas, this sets it automatically. It goes from daylight to night vision, and it's very, very cool. And it's also got a mapping system on it. So what that means is I can set it into a room, and if anything that moves within a room, it creates a wee square and it maps. It's like a radar. It'll map it moving, and it's fantastic. It really is really good quality, and I think Jenny has one as well. And it's nice. It's a camera. It's a body camera. It's only about that size, and you can put onto your. It's got a chest. You can put it onto your chest, and you're walking around. And the beauty about this is it records on fisheye, and it records widescreen. So we believe that. Well, I personally believe that spirits don't like to be seen. If you're too bright, they won't come out. They'll stay in the dark. And this night vision camera is when you're walking from a dark room into a bright room. It only takes that wee split second for a spirit to show themselves. But this camera will capture it because it's you're not messing about with buttons, trying to reset buttons and all. It does it automatically for you. So it's fantastic technology, and it's amazing. It really is. It's really amazing.
Sounds good. We got a question for you.
Actually, Jeremy, hi.
Hey, Tim,
I
how's
have
it going?
a picture pulled up. I'm not sure how to put it on the screen.
Okay, go down to share screen, Tim.
Yeah.
And then a thing will pop up. It'll ask you if you want to share. Well, first of all, hit the share screen button. Then they'll ask you if you want to share the entire screen. Do you want to do the application window or hit the Chrome tab? What you want is the
Yeah.
application window, and then first of all, you got to make sure that the picture is up on your laptop.
All right, I got it.
Okay.
And what are we doing? What are you bringing up?
Tim wants to
This is one of
share.
the pictures that we took at Crown Point.
Oh, from the long exposure. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Did
Okay.
it
Cool.
come up? There it is.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I can see that. Yep.
So that's a time exposure photo that he painted in with his laser grid. So you can still see everything in the room, but if something were to move in there, it might break that laser.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a great idea. It's covering the whole room.
So this one here has got to be the NEF file because I can still see the brick wall.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas with the regular JPEG file, the bricks are literally flooded in bright green.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to pop in and share that. I'll hop back off.
That's
I'm glad
cool.
you did.
That's cool. Thanks for sharing that, Tim. I appreciate that. That's good.
Yeah. See you guys.
Nice one. Okay. See you later. There's a questions just came into the chat there, Gary. I believe that some folk
Yeah,
may
it
have.
was the one that I was going to ask you about from Kat. She has an old Nokia cool PX camera with a video, and she's wondering about what your take is on those cameras.
It's something I've never used before, but if there's good enough quality of night vision on it, go for it. Now, the thing with night vision is that the older cameras 10 years ago, remember, used to pick up a lot of dust anomalies, orbs, what, etc. And then, same with mobile phones. I don't know if you get loads of photographs, but we get loads of photographs where you pick up these amazing light anomalies. But digital phones are ultra sensitive to dust, so they'll record anything that moves within the dust spectrum. But with night vision cameras, the more powerful the IR light, it will cut out any type of contamination of dust. If you watch Ghost Adventures, I mean, can I show you one of our cameras that we use?
Absolutely.
Just give me a wee second, guys.
If you come running back in with a scary mask on, I'm gonna jump out of scared.
No such luck, Scott.
Oh, man.
So, guys, basically, what is this? We've customized our cameras. So this is the battery on this. This here is a 7 to 9 hour battery life. It'll last. You don't have to plug it in, so you can run that outside. You're not constantly plugging it in all the time. The way a lot of IR batteries will only last an hour. This puppy will last between 7 to 9 hours. Okay. Now it's very, very powerful. A lot of camcorders will have their normal night vision lens on it, but you can actually get external lenses, which enhances the IR spectrum. Okay, so what that will do, that will screw over the front of your camcorder, and it'll enhance the IR light within that spectrum of your camcorder or your night vision camera, whatever you're using. And this is a powerful IR light. So what that enables us to do, a lot of IR cameras will only record maybe 20 to 30 feet in an area. This will record up to 300 square yards. I could go on a football pitch, and that will capture anything within 300 square yards.
Square yards.
Square yards. It'll record a whole football field. Anything that moves in a football field, this baby will capture it.
Gee.
So,
hey Scott, I know what we're getting for Christmas. Wow.
yeah.
What, you can get that? You'll get that itty bitty body cam since it's my size.
The body cameras, guys, I mean, Johnny has one as well. They're amazing, amazing. And the beauty about it is you're not messing about carrying it around, and you know yourselves. When you walk into the location, you'll always get your best evidence when you're least expecting it. But if you've got a body camera running from when you enter that building, it's going to record and document it.
Yeah,
You
dude,
know.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a question that's come in here. Pamela Hellman is asking, Gary, I believe that some folks may have some special psychic gifts, but generally I am skeptical, which is fine. Have you or your team ever had any experience working with any psychics? Is this something that you have done in the past? Pamela, we don't particularly use psychics. A lot of my friends are psychics, but we find with psychic mediums is that we like to rely on what we record at a location. We don't like to rely on a third party, what they say, because it takes away the investigation, what you're trying to achieve. Okay, so that's the only reason why we don't use psychics. So
we got another question right after that. What is all your thoughts on ultrasound with wireless chargers? Will be more common in households soon. Charging cars, drones, etc. Ultrasound.
ultrasounds is below the hearing range. We've used ultrasound vibration. Fantastic. We've got some amazing results with by using just. I mean, I'm very much into vibration. We use a device. I can't remember what I think it's called an EVP vibration sensor, and we will play it through a certain decibel of speakers. And if you can remember during the Victorian times, they believed that they could communicate by using vibration bowls, by hitting the bowl, it creates a vibration. And another thing is that dolphins can communicate thousands of miles away just by using vibration. So why not the same with the spirit world? So we use certain sound vibrations where we will walk into a building and we will play a vibration for about half an hour, rather than using your normal environment where they can't tune into it. They need a beacon of light of some type of sound element to log on to. And by using a vibration, it's possible they can do that. And we're bringing them into our atmosphere. So that's what we use. That's what we experiment with.
Okay. I do have one question for you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, if you even know what it is? Because I certainly didn't know what it was until about 6 months ago.
Okay.
What would your thought be on using a LiDAR on an investigation?
A what, sorry?
A LiDAR?
A night oil?
LiDAR.
LiDAR? Don't know what that is.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to bring Tim back on here because he
Yeah.
gave me that idea.
Okay. Never heard of that.
Hi, Tim.
Okay, so
Back again, Tim.
LiDAR is something that strips away. So like right now in South America, they're using it to find lost ancient civilizations from the Mayans and the Incas that are buried under forest and rainforest.
Right.
They can fly over and project this, and it will literally strip away all the exterior vegetation and everything else.
It's like an X-ray machine. Yeah.
I've actually talked to someone who's used it to find unidentified graves that are where the stone has sunk in the ground, or or it's been covered over by vegetation. So my thought, and they also use it for cave mapping. So you can go inside a cave and it will show you everyone that's standing around.
Yeah, that sounds good.
It'll show you every formation, every stalactite, everything, every entrance. As you're going through with LiDAR, it will actually map the entire cave for you.
Yeah, I think I've seen that technology.
My thought was using that mapping technology and walking through a building, could it pick up on spiritual energy?
Possibly.
Because it's basically it's basically using like radar technology where it's sending a signal out and that signal is bouncing and coming back.
Possibly. Now, there's a thing that I would have a wee debate about. That is that we done an investigation about 9 years ago. It was a place called the Ghost House down in Uri, and 6 investigators. My wife was one of them, and my wife doesn't. If she sees something, she'll say it, and it's real. 6 investigators seen a full-bodied apparition walking down the hallway. Now, I was recording that through a night vision camera, and I thought, happy days, I caught this, what these guys had seen, my wife had seen. But when I done playback, there was nothing there. So that told me then straight away, whatever lenses that we're using isn't going to record possible spiritual energy unless you're using some type of thermal imaging camera, which will detect that cold spot that the spirit is drawing around it, the energy, to make it drop, the temperature drop. So, but Tim, you know what? Everything's possible. Why not try that idea? I love that idea, and I've actually seen it being used.
I like that idea. I guess
Yeah.
for me, my only question, I'm not.
My personal thought was if the signal was interrupted while it was bouncing back or going to, that would cause an anomaly on what you're looking at on your mapping system as you play it back into the computer. That would actually cause an anomaly on that.
Yeah.
So my thought was, if something tried to feed off of that energy from that signal going out and back, like just like a radio frequency, that signal's going out and coming back. If something tried to feed off of that or move through that or break it in any way, that would cause some sort of anomaly on what you're looking at.
Yeah, it's the same with brainwaves. With the human body, when you're either stressed or whatever, it'll create a brainwave where it gives that unusual anomaly on like an oscillator, a monitor. Like what the ambulances use. Do you know what I mean? So I think Anthony is using something similar to this in one of his investigations. You as well, are you? Yeah. And I thought that was an amazing idea. There's a thing where a lot of stories of kids growing up will see spirits, right? And I have a theory on that, where when there's a thing in your eye, your human eye, which is called a film, and it's around the pupil. And when you get older, that film gets thicker and thicker and thicker, right? So I'm starting to think is when children are younger, when that filament in the eye is thin, are they seeing spirits that we can't see because we're adults and we can't see it because of the film on the eye is thicker? So it's the same with technology, with what you've just said there, Tim, using that technology where it will record something that's beyond the normal to give us some type of anomaly to record and document to suggest that there's something going on within that field, possibly.
And I don't think an anomaly could be used as proof, but I think if you had an anomaly that was backed up with something else, a picture or a thermal imager or even an EVP or something from that same area, then that would kind of help validate it.
I think so.
Also, guys, we got 2 minutes.
Okay.
We only got a couple minutes left on the show. Gary, thank you so much for being on the show with us. It has been very enlightening.
Thank you.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
Yes, thank you, Gary. We really appreciate it.
Not a problem. It's a pleasure to be here, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, definitely sometime we would like to have you back on the show. Maybe even having you and Jenny on the show at the same time.
Don't want her on. She'll spoil. We won't get a word in edgeways if you have her on.
You may be right. So anyway, thank you so much for being on the show with us. I'll go ahead and take you off the stream. Scott,
thank you very much.
Final thoughts, and we'll be back with you in just a few minutes. All right.
Bye. Bye.
Well, that was another good show, Scott.
Always is, man. Always is.
And definitely talking a little bit about elementals and learning a couple new things there.
That with each guest that we have, man, they seem to be more and more knowledgeable. I mean, it's like my super team for ghost hunting keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
But we're just gonna have to have like an all 100-person investigation at some big ass place.
And like I have loved all our guests right now, and there's a lot of people on the pun team that I want to investigate. But I'm telling you what, I think my two guys that I want to investigate with, besides I love investigating with you, man, Gary and Robert, dude. I could not imagine being with those two guys on an investigation. Oh my lord, dude.
Well, when we go to Ireland, we have definitely got to get up with Gary. We've definitely got to get up with Jenny.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
now,
You know, Jenny owes me a Star Wars shirt anyway, so
yeah, she's going to have to bring that dog of hers with her too. But for now, next week, that's going to be a biggie.
dude, that's gonna be awesome, man.
Yes, it is. This one here is going to be unlike any other show that we've ever done. Basically, we are going to be doing the topic of, I can't even say this right, but statistical analysis.
Yes.
And this will be by John Griffin II of You and I Research.
Yeah.
And the knowledge that this guy has is beyond anything I have ever met. You know, with no offense to any of our other previous guests. I mean, they've all been so knowledgeable as well, but this guy takes it to a whole different level.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this is gonna be a good show, dude.
Yes, it's going to be a very good show. So, for those of you who are watching, please tune in for this one. I am going to be sharing this one everywhere because this guy, he's the one who is behind all the experiments, and he's the one who's got me into doing some of the experimenting with our team. And it's showing results. We're getting some progress, and I think it's that next step that we need to take to push the field into the next level.
Dude, I can't wait, dude. It's gonna be exciting.
Yes, it is. So, meanwhile, we are going to turn over to the next show with Emily Men's House. What the frick?
What the frick?
Yes, that's the name of her show.
And she's awesome.
Yes, she is. So, we're going to go ahead and turn this channel over to her. Stay and watch her show. She's got a good show. She always has a good show. And we are going to go ahead and sign off.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate everything.
Thank you so much for interacting with us, for sharing our show. And remember, if it's paranormal or beyond,
Man, we got it covered, dude.
yes, we do. See you all next week.
Have a good night.